Game 2 set to begin here from Muzzy Field as the Worcester Bravehearts won Game 1, 5-3. Game 2 has Kelvin Sosa on the mound. He'll be facing Ricciardi, the left-handed batter. First pitch, and let the ball game begin. First pitch at 6:05. And we will have a alignment, a different change both in terms of the lineup as well as the defense for both the Hearts and the Blues, and we'll get to that right after this pitch. 1-0 to Ricciardi. Foul back, 1-1 in the outfield. We'll have Reynolds in left, Sullivan in center, Brancato in right. In the infield, Maroka at first, Haig at second, Brereton at short, Malloy at third, Sosa on the mound, and De Los Santos getting the start behind the plate. 1-1 to Ricciardi. Slap that towards left, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And just like that, AJ, Ricciardi starts off Game 2 as he did in Game 1.
Leadoff base hit for Ricciardi. That's his third hit of the day so far. So Ricciardi, second baseman in the first game, DHing today. Doesn't matter. He's still going to swing the stick. Leadoff man, that'll bring up Rinaldi here, the shortstop. No difference 1 through 5 in the lineup from Game 1 to Game 2 as Rinaldi fouls one back. As the Bravehearts go Ricciardi, Rinaldi, Delacari, Shelley, and House. And after that, a couple changes. Jack Gonzalez, followed by Kirk Sidwell. Then it'll be John Hanson and John Thrasher rounding out the bottom 4.
Sosa on the mound, kind of compared to a little bit of Clayton Kershaw with the way his motion is towards home plate. And we've talked about it many times. He not only has one motion, he's the man of many motions.
Many motions. He's going to keep these hitters off balance. And he's not the most overpowering pitcher, but it's all about deception when it comes to Santos. He's going to slow you down. He's going to speed you up. He's just going to keep you off balance and make it an uncomfortable at-bat for you in the plate.
1-1 to Rinaldi. One hopper to Malloy. Double clutch, gets the out at second. Haig over to first, completely misses Maroka. But they do get the out at second base. But Haig kind of misfired as Malloy double clutched. I thought for a second they might have maybe only tried first. But Ricciardi got an awful first jump towards first as the ball was hit off the bat of Rinaldi.
Yeah, it seemed like Malloy over there at third couldn't grab the ball out of his glove, had a double clutch. Able to get the lead man, which is most important. But no shot to get Rinaldi hustling down to first. But leadoff man done. So one out here with a man on first now for Delacari.
In Game 1, it was 98 degrees but felt like 125. The temperature has dropped a bit, but the humidity is still there on this hot Sunday afternoon. Game 2 of the doubleheader. Game 1 was won by the Worcester Bravehearts 5-3. Delacari looks at a fastball away, 2-0. Delacari playing right field.
Delacari, a 3-hole hitter. 2 runs scored in Game 1. Was right in the middle of both of the Worcester rallies.
2-0, Squibber. The umpire's going to say foul as Delacari dropped right to the ground as it was hit off what looked to have been his foot.
Yeah, Delacari in obvious pain there. Did not even make it out of the box. It looked like Maroka was poised there to turn 2, get out of this inning, but Delacari in the box as the ball hit him. So the umpire blew that one dead there.
2-1, pickoff attempt, and completely over misses Maroka as it gets over his head. And Ricciardi is going to get to, actually, pardon me, it's going to be Rinaldi. He's going to get to third. And Sosa had Rinaldi picked off, but it looked to have been that Sosa overshot Maroka.
I think that one actually did get a piece of Maroka's glove over there at first. Maroka's been put in a couple different positions so far this year defensively. Started out in the outfield, did not look comfortable there. Normally a left side of the infield kind of guy. Now at first base, couldn't make that play as it tipped off his glove. And you can see, Chris, we can see from the press box, the sun is coming in from that left field side. So it wouldn't really be affecting any of the outfielders or infielders except for the first baseman retrieving the ball on a pickoff throw. And you have to wonder if that played a factor in Moroka misplaying that one.
3-1 gets caught by Sosa as it was off the bat of Delicari taking up the center field, but Sosa sticks his glove out and makes the catch. And after that starts to take a long stroll around the mound.
You got to think Sosa knew that one was coming. I mean, you got to love this kid's swagger on the mound. He's switching up his deliveries, and after he plucked that one out of the air like it was just a routine play, just walking around like nobody's business.
And Shelley gets hit on a breaking ball. That's going to force Rinaldi to get back to third. But we've talked about the many motions of Sosa right there kind of dropped down a little bit, and that breaking ball got a little piece of Shelley, putting him on at first.
So a little hairy here in the first inning for Sosa. 2 outs with 2 men on.
That'll bring up Edward House. Had 2 hits and a couple RBIs in game 1. Was a pesky hitter. And it seems like every time he's been up, there's been people on base. And right now the Bravehearts on the corners. 2 down. So he's at the first pitch and fouls it back.
Sosa out of Wesleyan, making his 5th start of the season, 2-2 so far, with a 6.60 ERA.
Sosa trying to escape this jam. Shelley on at first after a hit by pitch. Rinaldi at third. 0-1, fastball away, 1-1. Jack Gonzalez on deck with Kirk Sidwell in the hole. With the game 1 loss, the Bristol Blues are now 15-12, and the Worcester Bravehearts are 12-13. One and one to the righty. High fastball again. 2-1. And now in the season series, the Worcester Bravehearts are only 1 game behind to tying this, with the Bristol Blues coming in a 4-2 series lead, but now 4-3 after the game 1 loss. 2-1 to House. Slower breaking ball, but it was still high. 3-1, and it looks to be that Sosa doesn't want anything to do with House.
House a couple of base hits, couple of RBIs in game 1, and he's a newcomer to this Worcester squad, but making an immediate impact. Sosa well aware.
3-1 smashed into center, and that's going to be an RBI for House. His hot hitting continues. 1-0. Worcester Bravehearts are up as Rinaldi scores from third.
Good job of hitting there from House. 3-1 pitch right over the heart of the plate. House does exactly what you're supposed to do with those types of pitches. Just line them right back up the middle, deposited that one into center field, and the Worcester Bats staying hot here, jumping out to a quick 1-0 lead.
Jack Gonzalez getting his first at-bat of the day from the left side. Looks at a fastball, 0-1. And House, AJ, you look at it right now, Sosa fell behind, had to come in with a fastball. He knew it and was able to get a good piece on it and getting it up the middle for a base hit.
Yeah, you saw Sosa trying to locate that off-speed pitch, but just missed way out of the zone. And 3-1 pitch and a couple guys already on base. House had to be sitting dead red on that fastball.
0-1 breaking ball, dropped his arm angle a little bit, throwing from a low 3/4 arm slot, but spun high. 1-1. That's dangerous because if you don't get the timing right on the slider, or the breaking ball rather, depending on what pitch Sosa is throwing, it ends up being a cement mixer, and this Bravehearts team can make you pay. 1-1 to Gonzalez. Sosa goes a little bit more away and gets the strike call, 1-2.
Yeah, generous call there from the home plate umpire. Ball might have been a couple inches off the plate, but knew a home plate umpire as the field and the home plate umpire switched from game 1. Looks to be a bit more of a generous zone here.
1-2, same spot. Umpire doesn't give it. Probably was a tad low. 2-2. 2's on the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Big pitch here. Gonzalez, just a 200 hitter with 4 RBIs. but 2 home runs on the season. So certainly some power for the lefty first baseman.
Sosa trying to keep the Bravehearts at 1. He does. Cut at and missed. Is Jack Gonzalez. But the Bravehearts get 1 on an RBI single by House. And they're up 1-0. We're heading to the bottom of the first. Bristol Blues will be up to bat. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. An RBI single by House. Scoring was Rinaldi. Worcester Bravehearts are up 1-0. But Sosa was able to work himself out a little bit of a damage per se, striking out Jack Gonzalez swinging to end the top of the first. And now the Blues will have an opportunity to fight back. AJ, who do we have batting for the Blues?
For the Blues, complete turnover here in Game 2 as opposed to Worcester. We got Andy Haig leading things off, the second baseman out of UConn. Then Dylan Reynolds batting in the 2-hole, Rich Brereton, followed by Justin Henry Malloy, Cooper Maroka, Teddy Haig, Giacomo Brancato, and Jimmy Sullivan. And then Miguel de los Santos rounding things out in the 9-hole in game number 2 here for the Bristol Blues.
We'll break down the defense for the Bravehearts after this pitch. Haig fouls it back 1-1. In the outfield, we'll have left, center, right, Sidwell, Thrasher, Delicari. In the infield, Gonzalez at first, House at second, Rinaldi at short, Hanson at third, behind the plate, Shelley. And on the mound is Jake Sanderson. Fastball outside, 1-2. Jake Sanderson from UConn, he will be going to UConn in the fall. So you could say Haig's new teammate come fall time. High, 2-2.
Sanderson making his first appearance of the year for Worcester. So we'd imagine one of those late high school call-ups post-graduation. And Sanderson so far, a little bit wild here in his first batter of the year.
That was the first attempt to try what looked to have been maybe a change-up, some sort of breaking ball, but kind of held on it too much. I would anticipate here he'll probably come with the fastball on the full count pitch to Haig. He does to the left side, but Rinaldi has it gobbled up. High throw gets away from Gonzalez, but Haig's going to stay on at first. As you saw Shelley kind of back up the first baseman. That's what you're supposed to do as a catcher, but Rinaldi rushed the throw and allows Haig to get to first.
Bit of a bobble from Rinaldi on the initial ground ball. Kind of double clutch when he was bringing that ground ball from the dirt to his midsection, and I wonder if he thought, that mental clock that you talk about all the time, Chris, if that was going off as Reynolds squares and bunts one foul. So he rushed that throw over to first base. Haig with decent speed, able to leg that one out, and I think Rinaldi, just mental error there, caused that errant throw.
And we are seeing Dylan Reynolds for the first time in what seems to have been at least a week and a half, as he was one of the players that fell victim to that illness that went around the Blues locker room, or clubhouse rather.
And last week, some damp, moist weather that might have played a factor. And I was talking to Reynolds before the game today, and he said that he was suffering from a fever and some flu-like symptoms, so overcoming that. But he did get the start last night in Nashua. And how about this, Chris? He worked 4 walks last night. I mean, I know we talk about this guy. He and Osberg, great eyes up at the top of the order, but 4 walks, it's almost unheard of in one game.
1-2 to Reynolds. Foul back, we'll do it again. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what happened a couple years ago when Harper was facing the Cubs, and Joe Madden would intentionally walk Harper every single time he was up, or rather not even throw him a pitch within the strike zone.
And I'm not sure if Reynolds warrants that same warning.
Runners going on the play. Higgs going to get to second on the hit and run. And House able to get the out at first. And that was a correct play called by Palmer, because if that was not a hit and run, could have easily have been a double play, but instead the Bristol Blues have a runner in scoring position at second base.
For a guy like Reynolds, who's going to put the ball in play, especially if the hit and run is on there, you know he's going to do the job and get a ground ball, able to fill that gap, and Haig able to reach scoring position now for your 3-hole hitter, Brereton.
And Sanderson losing a little bit of the control with the fastball. That's the 4th time we've seen him go up and in on a right-handed hitter. Haig saw a couple pitches high, but because of maybe his height, avoided getting hit. But Brereton right there had to kind of brush back and took his time getting back to home plate.
Brereton was hit by a pitch in game 1. As you see Chelly earning his keep behind the plate today, as Sanderson has been peppering that home plate in that area, has not been able to get that ball over, and Chelly doing a good job keeping everything in front.
If you're the Blues right now, you got to be sitting nothing but fastballs, as he can't get his off-speed pitch over. Brereton takes a cut at that outside fastball. 2-1.
And Brereton got what he wanted there, a fastball, but looked like he was fooled a little bit on the location. Brereton not putting his best swing on that one, just kind of flicking that one foul.
Brereton keeps 3-1. A single, I would assume, would score Haig with his speed. On deck is Malloy, and in the hole is Maroka. 3-1. It's going to be a tough play for Rinaldi. Sets his feet, makes a nice throw to the first baseman, Gonzalez, for the second out. And as you mentioned, AJ, about that internal clock, looked a little bit better on that play.
You could see Rinaldi fielding that ball cleanly, able to set his feet. Pretty much had his eye on Brereton the entire time going down the line. Fired a strike over to Gonzalez for the second out of the inning. Tying run 90 feet away here for the cleanup hitter, Malloy.
And Malloy ribs a ball into left. Sidwell's going back, turns, looks, kiss that ball goodbye. 2-run home run for Justin Henry Malloy, his first of the season. And the Blues are up 2-1. And that is the first home run hit at Muzzy Field in this 2018 FCBL season.
Well, it was only a matter of time, Chris, before he got a hold of one. You can see the absolute raw power in this guy's bat, and you got to be thinking Malloy had the mentality going up there. First good pitch I see, I'm ripping, and he did exactly that. And Chris, we talked with him a couple weeks ago, and after his first double, his first at bat of the season, he said, "Yeah, I was going up there. I was trying to put one out." And you think Malloy had that same mentality in that at bat.
And Maroka gets hit on the fastball, and it looks to be okay, but it buzzed him on the left elbow guard, and that's going to force Chelly to go out and talk with his young right-hander. But as you mentioned, AJ, about the confidence that Malloy had in his first at bat, and you saw right there with the 2-run home run, the first for the Bristol Blues this season at home. How is Sanderson going to be able to come back after giving up a home run like that? Because you got to remember, and you know this well, Coming out of high school, you're facing guys 2, 3, 4 years older than you. How do you react?
Well, it's going to be a huge test, and that's why Sanderson's up here.
Bump play by Haig, perfectly placed. Shelley only has one play, but the home plate umpire said that it was foul. Now Shelley's even pointing about where it was, because if it hit Haig outside the batter's box, he would be out, but it must have hit him inside where the left-handed batter's box is.
And a bit of an awkward play there, and Haig was so eager to bust out of the left side batter's box that I think the bat actually hit the ball as he was releasing on his way down first. So a good idea, but not the best execution.
Rinaldi takes it himself, tags second, and the side is retired. But a big 2-run home run by Justin Henry Malloy gives the Bristol Blues a 2-1 lead. We're heading to the top of the second. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call for Game 2 of this doubleheader. 2-1 your score. We're in the top of the second. A big 2-run home run by Justin Henry Malloy, the Vanderbilt commit in the fall, has put the Blues up for the first time today between Game 1 and now Game 2. Game 1 was won by the Worcester Bravehearts 5-3 to improve their record to 12-13 and drop the Blues to 15-12. Bravehearts will have 7-8-9. Kirk Sidwell, John Hansen, and John Thrasher. If any of them get on, we're back up to the top with Ricciardi. First pitch to the 7 batter, fouls it towards, or rather up the third baseline, 0-1. Now, big thing for Sosa right here, and we always talk about both myself and my partner AJ, is the shutdown inning. Having a pitcher who just gave up a run and then your team helps you out, either ties the game or puts you ahead, have to be able to go at least 1, 2, 3 and bring the offense back. Breaking ball outside. Good pitch by Sosa. A slow curveball. 0-2.
Especially for Sosa here, facing the bottom of this Worcester order, 7-8-9. Definitely want to be in attack mode here.
0-2 to Kirk. The Clayton Kershaw. That pitch is going to be taken into left. And that's going to get all the way to the walls. Reynolds is going to have to track that down. Sidwell is going to get to second on a stand-up double. And that was cut off by Brereton. And I feel like, AJ, we're just repeating ourselves over and over again. A little bit that the Blues can get in terms of offense, we feel like the pitchers just find a way to give it back.
Not the way you wanted to start the inning. If you're Kelvin Sosa, just a pitch that was left way out over the plate. And if you're Sidwell out of Stetson, I mean, you see that pitch, your eyes light up, and he drilled that one deep into left field. So Sosa, again, another leadoff hit, second inning in a row. Going to have to work himself out of some trouble with a man in scoring position and nobody out.
Hansen getting his first at-bat today, playing third base here in Game 2. Fastball, same spot as the first pitch, 0-2. And Sosa really needs to be able to try to get a strikeout here because a ground ball could more than likely push Sidwell over the third. You have Haig holding on to the runner. 0-2. Breaking ball in.
Sosa right now unable to consistently pour in his off-speed stuff for a strike. And that fastball was drilled for a double. He's gotten into some trouble so far.
Another foul ball up the third baseline, and it looked to have been maybe got a piece of De Los Santos as that forces the home plate umpire to gracefully walk over to Sosa to give him some time. A nice job by Malloy right there, kind of going after the foul ball and giving Santos a little bit more time. A little sportsmanship from his fellow teammate. Thrasher on deck, and then we're back up to the top with Ricciardi. 1-2. High fastball, 2-2. What do you think Sosa throws right here, AJ?
2-2 pitch. Normally want to throw your best pitch. If he goes off speed, he's going to have to go low and away. Goes fastball, but got away with one there as that's fouled back. Looked like that was over the heart of the plate.
Do you think he's setting this batter up right now for a breaking ball? Throw a high fastball, and through a couple previously before that, maybe you drop in the breaking ball in the dirt for a chase pitch.
What we haven't seen is an absolute put-away pitch for Sosa.
2-2. There's the breaking ball, but slipped out. And that was another one of his arm angles there. Kind of didn't look too comfortable from that slot.
And at this point, Worcester hitters, after seeing the off-speed missing so badly, they're pretty much daring them to throw a fastball.
Full count pitch. It was low. And Hanson's going to get on at first, and the Bravehearts, after Malloy hits the 2-run home run to put the Blues up 2-1. Now the Bravehearts have an opportunity with runners on first and second. Sidwell, who got a double, and then Hanson with the no-out walk. And AJ, you know a little bit about John Thrasher.
Thrasher, center fielder from Hartford, a true freshman, started a majority of the games for the Hawks.
Fastball nips the outside corner for a strike.
Hitting .309 for the Bravehearts, and Thrasher part of that Hartford Hawk team that went to the NCAA tournament, and ironically enough,
Santos trying to find it for a second, kind of went out of his crouch as it went between his legs, then at the last second picked it up. No advancement of the runners.
Ironically enough for Thrasher, playing with a couple of Stetson Hatters, and those two teams, Hartford and Stetson, were matched up together in the NCAA regional.
1-1, foul back as it was a fastball in. Thrasher took a healthy cut, 1-2. And Stenson had a couple big-time players, one of them being a top first-round pick, Logan Gilbert. I think he was drafted by, if I recall, the Blue Jays.
And Stetson, one of those kind of an underrated sleeping giant, I would say, in college baseball. I mean, you got guys coming out of there like DeGrom and Kluber as Thrasher goes down on strikes. Big K there from Sosa. But Stetson, definitely a sleeping giant in the college baseball landscape.
And as you mentioned, they produced probably two of the most dominant pitchers right now in terms of Corey Kluber for the Indians and Jacob deGrom for the Mets. Ricciardi at the plate, and speaking of the Mets, as Ricciardi fouls it back, people who might remember J.P. Ricciardi, the former GM of the Toronto Blue Jays, you're looking right at his son.
Ricciardi, we talked about such a difficult out, and with men in scoring position, probably the last guy you want to face. A big strikeout of Thrasher from Sosa. If you're Thrasher in that spot, you pretty much want to get anything in play. Tough to double up, so you'd have to think he could advance the runners here. But now Ricciardi saddled with a couple men on, trying to tie or take the lead here after the 2-run bomb off the bat of third baseman Justin Henry Malloy in the bottom half of the first.
Ricciardi reminds me so much of Altuve between the batting stance and just how much of a pesky hitter he is, at least early in Altuve's career. Ricciardi calls time. And Sosa's pitch count continues to rise. Has rather had to work through some base runners on the base pads between inning number 1 and now inning 2. Still runners on first and second. 2-1 to Ricciardi. To the left side, Malloy. Jogley tries to go after that but decides to retreat as it went foul. 2-2. Rinaldi on deck. Delacari in the hole. Ricciardi started off game 2 as he did in game 1 with a single.
And Sosa already at 43 pitches, not out of the second inning yet.
2-2 breaking ball. Santos keeps that ball in front. Full count pitch, and Sosa, after giving up a run in the top of the first, his battery mates gave him 2, but AJ's not looking too good right now.
3-2, big pitch, able to get him out of this jam right here if he can make one, but he misses low. And after a couple walks now, 2 men on scoring position, bases are loaded. And you can see Sosa right now hanging his head a little bit frustrated with himself as De Los Santos is out there to talk to him. And now Sosa's going to have to deal with one of the best average hitters in the FCBL with nowhere to put him.
And this Bravehearts team came in second in the FCBL in hits, 4th in doubles, 2nd in home runs, and 2nd in RBIs. We've seen everything but the home runs from the Bravehearts in game 1 and now game 2. And you can see why they are such a dangerous team to play, especially in the FCBL playoffs. First pitch foul back, 0-1, and we get that the FCBL playoffs are not for another month and a half, but you can envision a team like this where if you take away the defensive efficiencies that they have, 47 errors, last in the FCBL, they're a semi-complete team. 0-1 to Rinaldi. Swung at to right. Brancato took a step back, makes the catch. Over the head of Brereton, play at home. Swipe play by Santos, not in time. Tie game, sac fly by Rinaldi. Scoring was Kirk Sidwell, 2-2.
And a good shoot from Brancato. Fly ball that really hung up there. Not too deep, but Sidwell, good wheels, got a good jump. Able to slide in there, beating the tag from De Los Santos, and all of a sudden this game is tied right back up.
And on that throw that allowed Hansen to tag from second and get to third, so now runners on the corners. Big healthy cut by Delacari, swung at and missed, 0-1, so it does, however, make it a little bit easier to turn, rather, because there's 2 outs, easiest bag, either second or first, depending on where the hit or ball is placed. 0-1. Swung out to the right side of the field, and that's going to give the Bravehearts the lead, 3-2. RBI single by Delacari. Scoring on the play was John Hansen, and that tag up from second to third on the sac fly showed to be a precise play by the Bravehearts.
And a good job of hitting there from Delacari. In his 2 at-bats so far, he's smoked the ball twice. This time it found the outfield grass. Remember his first at-bat, a line shot. Hit it about as hard as you possibly could, but Sosa stuck his glove out, able to pluck that one out of the air. But Delacari rewarded this time with an RBI base hit, giving them the lead.
Sosa steps off to kind of stare down Ricciardi. Celli was hit by a pitch back in the first, was left stranded in the first on second base. 0-1 pitch just foul back. If you're Ronnie Palmer right now, how disgruntled are you that your team at the moment was up 2-1 and now gives the Bravehearts 2 runs here in the top of the second? Celli swings at this one into right center, chasing is Sullivan and Brancato. Brancato has it in the shadows, and the third and final out is retired. Side done, but the Bravehearts score 2. As they're up 3-2 as we're heading to the bottom of the second. We're going to stay right here at Muzzy Field, Chris Arns and AJ Fabry. And AJ, kind of break down what just happened in that top half of the second.
Well, Sosa has struggled with his command. He really hasn't been able to locate his off-speed pitch, and after giving up a booming double to Sidwell to start the inning off, a couple of walks, sandwiched a strikeout of Thrasher in there, but a couple of walks really amplified the rally for Worcester after a couple bases loaded, and then Sidwell coming around to score, Hansen coming around to score, and then a sac fly from Rinaldi, and we've talked about it this year. Bristol has just been unable, when they capture a lead, just to hold it. I mean, for the starting pitching staff, they really had not been able to do the job. And you see, just in last game, DeLeese was cruising along, and once he hit that fourth, fifth inning, it was the fifth inning, just gave up a couple base hits, started to walk a few guys, and that turned into a 4-run rally and ended up being the game. And we've talked about in these doubleheader games, there's 7 innings, so you know, you have to have a sense of urgency, and you have to come out and score. And that being said, it's still only a 1-run game here early, only the bottom of the second. But the offense, it looks like, will have to bail out this Bristol Blues club if they're going to earn a victory here in the second game of this doubleheader.
And we've seen that. I mean, the beginning of the season, the pitching looked unstoppable, and it was the hitting that was hard to really come to grasp with, because at times they looked unstoppable, but in other times they couldn't hit a lick. And then now you look at it where the offense is starting to really come around, but the pitching is not having those type of games where one good, one bad, one good, then bad. They're not stringing together that consistency.
You're exactly right. And actually, as I look at my notes here, Bristol, they have not won consecutive games since June 17th through June 19th. So it's been back and forth, winning pretty much just one game at a time for Bristol. So they really haven't been able to get on a hot streak. They haven't been able to find their groove since the start of the season.
Quickly 2-0 on Giacomo Brancato. We'll have 7-8-9. Brancato is currently up right now. Sullivan, De Los Santos, made them get on. Andrew Haig. 2-0 to Brancato. Fastball out, 3-0. And AJ, there was a real nice article that was written by the Bristol Press about Brancato.
Brancato out of Fairfield. I believe it is the suffered from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so very scary disease, life-threatening in high school. Had to take off from playing sports. He was a great athlete, baseball obviously and basketball, but overcame that adversity, earned a scholarship to Fairfield U.
Ground ball to Ricciardi. Simple play, and Brancato grounds out for the first out, but going back to what you were saying, it definitely shows the kind of will that Brancato had to not just come back from that illness, but then to become a Division I athlete. It's one thing to be able to beat or at least conquer non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but then be able to go and continue your career in high school and then become a D1 athlete. You have to give him a lot of credit. As Sullivan cuts at and misses on a fastball low, 0-1. Sullivan will be going to Virginia in the fall, one of the few Bristol players who have just finished high school, both Patrick Winkle as well as Jimmy Sullivan. 1-1. Sullivan on the hands, slicing towards Rinaldi, throwing on the run. Nice stretch play by Gonzalez, but his foot must have just come off the bag, and Sullivan's going to get on with one out. And Sullivan using the long legs that he has. I mean, you look at Sullivan right now, just graduated from high school, tall, lanky, projectable. You can envision what he's going to look like in the ACC with baseball going forward.
One of the benefits, as De Los Santos takes the ball outside, one of the benefits going to one of those Power 5 schools is they're going to have guys who are working you out every day. They're going to have nutritionists and individual trainers to work on your body. And when it's not baseball season, as that ball gets by the first baseman, allows Sullivan to get to second, rounding and on his way to third. But Sullivan, the kind of guy, the kind of body that you can see just getting absolute built up to a professional ranking body, and that's why he's going to a Power 5 school projectable. He's going to be able to produce at that level, and such an advantage to be going to the University of Virginia, and that's why he's here now, getting these reps in against some Division I arms to prepare him.
If you're a first baseman at Muzzy Field, it's hard to be able to pick up the baseball, as we've seen now as a big, healthy cut from De Los Santos, 1-1. Third time we've seen a first baseman lose the ball in the sun has hurt both now the Bravehearts and the Blues. 1-1 to the 9-hitter. Santos fouls it back. And I think you made a great point, AJ, about how the sun, as it continues to start to go and go down to the sunset, which won't happen for another hour and change, first basemen are going to have trouble. Shadows covering all of the outfield, and starting to creep into the infield. To the left side, third baseman Hansen at home plate gets the out. And a heads-up play by Hansen, making an accurate throw, first setting his feet, timing Sullivan, and then making a precise throw to Chelly for the throw at home plate. Now there's 2 down for the Blues and a missed opportunity for Bristol.
It's always a tough play, tough read to make if you're a base runner, and Hansen, playing about even with the bag, came up shooting. Well hit by De Los Santos. But sometimes when those ground balls are hit to third base, it's a split-second reaction, and Sullivan motoring his way towards home, but Hansen, a good defender and able to make the play there. Cut down Sullivan at the plate.
And De Los Santos is, I don't know if it's the hamstring, which I know he's complained about before, or maybe the fact that this heat is really taking a toll. And I understand he did not start game 1, but you play for even a half an inning. I can only imagine how much of a temperature gauge it is playing on the field compared to being in the dugout or just sitting in the stands.
And something to pay attention to. I mean, in game 1, we saw a lot of turnover here to game 2. Lots of Worcester Bravehearts starting in both games. Chelly DHing in game 1, but behind the dish now. And then Rinaldi back out there at short for his second start. Delacari moved from first base to right field. So even House from third to second. So definitely you'd think some fatigue setting in, and a day that's primarily stayed over triple digits in the temperatures. So something to look out for as this game wears on.
0-2 to Haig. Chopper to Rinaldi. He's going to tag second himself. And the Blues, which had an opportunity with a runner on third after the throwing error by Sanderson. But Hansen made the precise throw to Chelly, and the tag was applied. 3-2 is your score. We're heading to the top of the third. Blues are down by 1. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call for game 2 of this doubleheader between the Bristol Blues and the Worcester Bravehearts. You're watching on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. 5, 6, 7, House, Gonzalez, Sidwell. If any of them get on, Hansen. Hansen made the crucial play in the bottom of the second that kept the Blues, which did have a runner on third, from scoring and tying this game. Bravehearts up 3-2 as we're in the top of the third. First pitch low to the 5-hitter House. House, game 1 could not be stopped, and he continued that in game 2 with an RBI single for one of the 3 runs that the Bravehearts have thus far. 1-0. And House jam shot. And Bridgen had to back up a couple steps into the shadows, but makes the catch. 1 down. And a good start for Sosa.
I think that's imperative for Sosa to get the leadoff man every time. First 2 innings, giving up 3 runs, and in both of those innings, the leadoff man was able to get aboard. So maybe that'll turn the tide here for Sosa, who's been able to labor his way through some jams. But the leadoff man done for. It looks like it might get a second here if that ball stays in fair territory, in play.
And De Los Santos fighting the sun and was able to make the catch going back. And I think Malloy, too, as he was coming in, he pinched away, was helping guide Santos and telling him how much room he had. And that's a teammate right there kind of working together on that out.
We've talked about Malloy, just for a young guy, taking a leadership role on this team. And a gritty play there from De Los Santos after last inning. We saw him on the base pads looking a little bit worn out. Not sure if it was an injury or just fatigue from this extreme heat. But able to pop out of his crouch and make that play in foul territory.
And Sidwell, who doubled in the second, came around to score for one of the 2 runs for the Bravehearts. Fouls a pitch on the right side, 0-1. And it looks like the home plate umpire is going to be giving the business to somebody in the, I don't know if it's the stands or maybe next to the Bristol Blues dugout, about screaming when the batter's going to be taking a swing.
It's been a long day here, Chris. People are getting a little restless, I would guess.
I will say, though, they do that at Major League games and nobody says anything.
I think it's harder to pinpoint. I mean, loud
That's true.
yells
More
at,
people.
30, 40,000 people in a stadium, you know?
Well, tomorrow the Bristol Blues do play against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and they're the only game on schedule tomorrow in the FCBL. Everybody else is off. The 2-1. Call the strike. Santos couldn't kind of grip that ball back into his glove. 2-2. So 2's on the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on Sidwell. Hansen on deck. Thrasher in the hole. Yankees play against the Red Sox tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. 2-2. Breaking ball, swung out to the right side. Brancado's going to have to chase it on the line. Giving chasers Maroka, and just out of reach. Will do it again. And the New York Yankees are going to try to be able to win 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox as David Price against Luis Severino. And AJ, you were at that game yesterday, and even you knew it was over after the first inning.
I'm sure for our Worcester fans and also our PA guy here in the press box, a lot of Red Sox fans were happy with last night's result. But Sonny Gray just not getting the job done yet again. But let's just focus on the here and now, Chris. Some Bristol Blues baseball. That's all I really care about.
2-2 from Sosa. And another pesky at bat for the Bravehearts as Sidwell continues to work Sosa and raise that pitch count. Threw over 30 pitches in that second inning alone. And I know you made the comment about how you were a little surprised that Sosa would come back out just because of the amount of pitches that he threw, and with this heat, you would think that if the Blues can get 4 out of Sosa, they'll be happy. 2-2 to Sidwell. We're on the count full, 3-2 on the high fastball.
That was Sosa's 61st pitch, and at this point, Coach Palmer is just looking for some length from Sosa.
Payoff pitch coming in the dirt. 2-out walk for Sidwell. And how many pitches did you say?
Now he's above 60 in his 3rd inning of work, so the leadoff walks and the 2-out walks will kill you as a starting pitcher, and 2-out walk administered there to Sidwell. It just looked like Sosa was going to have his first clean inning. Still can keep the Bravehearts off the board here, but as his pitch count rises, going to see some action in the Bristol bullpen. But with the temperature continuing to rise, doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Fatigue is definitely a factor here for Sosa.
Hansen looks at the first pitch that was called a strike. Second pitch fouled back. He walked in the second, came around to score. 0-2 count with 2 outs. Kirk Sidwell walked. Now Hansen down 0-2 in the count against Sosa. 60-second pitch coming. Runners going outside. Santos isn't going to make an attempt to throw. And it looked to be maybe Haig kind of was covering second a tad late, and Santos correctly did not throw it. So an easy stolen base for Sidwell.
So a 2-out walk and a stolen base and a runner in scoring position just like that for Worcester. And it looks like Sosa just does not have that put-away pitch in his arsenal today.
2's on the board again. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on Hansen. Pitch coming. And Hansen, just like Sidwell, making Sosa work in the heat.
You're exactly right, Chris. And the more pitches Sosa throws, the more likely he is to make a mistake that could come back to haunt.
Breaking ball in, and Hansen kind of gave his left elbow a little bit, kind of was trying to maybe even get hit, but curveball just spun away. Full count pitch coming to the 8-hitter with Thrasher on deck, and then Ricciardi in the hole. I don't see anybody warming up in the bullpen either for Bristol.
Hansen, just a 133 hitter here. Wearing down Sosa. If you're Sosa, you're going to have to gas him up right here.
3-2 pitch outside. Umpire didn't give it to him. And another 2-out walk. Both Kirk Sidwell and Hansen via the walk with the 9-batter Thrasher, who did strike out in the second, but is still a dangerous at-bat just because of his simple approach at the plate. Can go the opposite way.
Like the approach there from Sosa, though. 3-2 count. Going against Hansen, who struggled so far this season. Just attack mode, but didn't get the call there. I like that pitch, though. And still a chance here to wiggle out of this one with no damage done. 2 outs against the 9-hitter Thrasher.
First pitch to the 9-batter. Fastball low, 1-0. And as you said, AJ, first bullpen action for the Blues. 1-0 pitch to Thrasher. He takes that into center. Sullivan's going to have to come chasing in and makes the stretch catch for the third and final out. So Sosa escapes the damage, or what could potentially have been damaging. Blues up down 3-2 as we're heading to the bottom of the third. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry, you're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Nice play by the center fielder, Jimmy Sullivan, able to help out his pitcher, Sosa, who had runners on with first and second, 2-out walks. We're in the bottom of the third. Bravehearts up 3-2. We have 2, 3, 4. Reynolds, Brereton, Malloy. Pay them get on. Maroka. And Reynolds looked at a first pitch fastball in from Sanderson, who's back on for his third inning of work. 0-1 to the left-handed hitting Reynolds. Brushes back, was too much in, 1-1.
It's a big out from Sosa to get out of that two-man on jam, and I think if you're Palmer, you're going to run him out there for the fourth, squeeze another inning, as Sanderson all over the place right now.
He threw that one behind Reynolds. What does Bob Euchre say? Just a bit outside.
Trying to establish that inside corner. Just got a little bit too happy there. Jeez.
That time he hits Reynolds. The pitch, or rather the pitch before that was behind him. This time it hits Reynolds in the leg, walking gingerly over the first. But what did your coach say when you were little? Just put some dirt on it.
We got ice, Chris.
I don't know if we do. I'm pretty sure it melted.
Yeah, that's actually a valid point.
How was your brownie?
Delicious, thank you. Shout out to my mom for giving me a brownie. Little mid-game snack.
Maroka at the plate looks at a fastball away, 0-1. Maroka grounded out to the shortstop. And speaking of the shortstop, Rinaldi, he's made 4 plays. And except for one error that he made in the first, he's been pretty pristine there at short thus far in Game 2.
Shortstop out of Holy Cross. Sound out there.
0-1 away. Chelly had to reach out to his arm side to be able to stop that ball. And Sanderson is really having bouts of wildness thus far, even with the strike call on Brereton. You saw right there with Reynolds, threw one pitch behind him and then hit Reynolds in the back. One inside, and Brereton's not happy with that call.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the home plate umpire on that one. Brereton had a duck out of the way just to avoid getting hit on the elbow, but bit of a generous strike call there for Sanderson.
1-2 on Brereton. Outside, 2-2, and you're seeing now a couple uncompetitive pitches from Sanderson. And now Brereton, you would think, 2-2 count advantage goes to him, but then again, Sanderson being so wild, he could easily dot a fastball or he could throw it 3 feet above his head.
Wonder if Reynolds is going to be in motion at any point in this at-bat.
There it is, breaking ball outside, strike 3. And Brereton goes down looking, and that's, I mean, I got to tip my cap to Sanderson because maybe he planned that all along. Be effectively wild and then drop a breaking ball perfectly on the outer black of the plate.
Generous strike call, took advantage, and then drops an off-speed pitch. Froze Brereton. Nothing he could do with that one.
Malloy breaking ball outside 0-1, and Sanderson I don't think was going to throw a fastball first because he saw what happened last time as that was a moonshot to left field that at the time put the Blues up 2-1 before the Bravehearts scored 2 in the top of the second. Another breaking ball off the end of the bat, but Thrasher takes some steps back into the shadows. Makes the out for 2 down for the Bravehearts, but Malloy in this game, I mean, we haven't seen him in a couple days, but he seems to have much better at-bats so far.
Healthy hack there on the off-speed pitch from Sanderson, but Malloy just a hair out in front, caught that one off the end of the bat and able to stay up for Thrasher to make that play out in center. So after a leadoff hit by pitch, 2 quick outs, and Sanderson looking like he might wiggle out of this one with no damage done.
Fastball inside to Maroka, 0-1. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of Emmett Sheehan, just in terms of being as wild as both of they were. But Sanderson working himself out as Emmett Sheehan did. 0-1, foul back, 0-2.
Maroka, a 2-run home run in last night's contest against Nashua. His first of the year. So Laparco still leading the team with 2 home runs, but Maroka with one of his own and Malloy with his own as well.
Breaking ball, strike 3. Maroka goes down looking, 2 strikeouts via the look. Brereton and Maroka. And Sanderson, who showed wildness, was able to hone it down after hitting Reynolds in the first at bat in the bottom of the third. We're heading to the fourth. 3-2 is your score. Blues are down by 1. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
Back here at Muzzy Field, game 2 of this doubleheader between the Worcester Bravehearts and your Bristol Blues. The Bravehearts leading here 3-2 the score in the top of the fourth. Leading things off for the Bravehearts will be Mariano Ricciardi, the leadoff man, and he's going to face a new pitcher for Bristol. It's Kyle Hagg out of Ramapo College. Hagg making his 10th appearance of the season, all of them relief appearances. And he deals. Ricciardi lifts this one into center. Sullivan coming on, and he'll make the play. Sullivan laying out and taking a hit away from Ricciardi for the first out of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hagg.
And Sullivan using all of the 6'4" frame, and you can see why Virginia gave him a scholarship, because you can project what he's going to be within the next 3 years.
Hagg deals a strike outside corner. Hagg 2-0 with a 3.44 ERA and 15 2/3 innings pitched. Last appearance came on June 26th against Brockton as he misses low and away. He picked up the victory in that one. 2 2/3 innings pitched, no runs, no hits, and 5 strikeouts for the big righty. Fastball misses outside, 2-1. We've talked about it, Chris. This bullpen has been pretty reliable for Ronnie Palmer. You got guys like Hagg, Silvestri, Hebner. 2-1 pitch ripped down the left field line. That'll fall foul. 2-2 the count.
No, the bullpen for the Blues, at least in terms of going 7, 8, 9, when they have the lead, they are dominant, especially when you look at the closer, Neil McDermott, who is perfect, 8 for 8 in save opportunities. But the hard thing's just been the middle innings, getting to that bullpen, getting to the end part, rather.
2-2 to Rinaldi. Looped out into right field, and that'll be a base hit as Rinaldi, with a bit of an excuse me swing, placed it in the right spot. So he's aboard with 1 away, and that'll bring up 3-hole hitter, right fielder Michael Delicari.
And I can see why Rinaldi ranks in the top 10 for the FCBL, because he doesn't give an at-bat away, both in Game 1 and Game 2. He's had the approach at the plate has been precise in terms of fastballs away. Instead of trying to pull it, he goes the other way, sticks the bat head out, And as long as he keeps his hands back, and you showed right there, strong wrists, got a 1-out single.
Ball gets away from Bauman now, is behind the plate as Rinaldi is able to advance to second, but you see number 24, Alex Bauman now replacing De Los Santos behind the dish. And we saw De Los Santos look like he might have been bothered with what could have been a lower body injury. Don't want to speculate, but he is now out of the game, and it'll be Bauman taking over behind the dish.
Do you think, AJ, that's difficult for a guy like Bauman, who's been sitting in this heat for over a game and now the fourth inning because he came in the top of the fourth? Is that something where I don't want to say that the focus maybe is not there, but just going right back into the game situation?
Well, I think if you're a bench player, that's kind of your mindset. I mean, it should be. It's not always the case. And like you said, with this heat bearing down all day, it's easy for guys to kind of lose focus. And we'll see what Bauman does here. I mean, we've talked about he's been stellar behind the plate all year long. But, I mean, that's the life of the catcher, I guess. You never know when your number is going to be called. So he's going to have to step up big time in replacing De Los Santos and make some plays here behind the dish. As there's a runner now in scoring position, the 1-0 from Hag, swung on, and that'll get through the right side. Another base hit. Rinaldi rounding third. He's going to come around to score as Brancato misplays it in right field. So a single from Delicari as he is seeing the ball well. His second hit of the day. Rinaldi around to score. So the wild pitch proves costly as the Bravehearts extend their lead 4-2 here in the top of the fourth with just one away.
And that's the costly mistake that the Blues have made, one of them being the pass, or the wild pitch rather, kind of getting by Bauman. That single probably doesn't score Rinaldi, but because of that stolen pitch or stolen base and the error by Bauman allows him to get to second, the single scores. 4-2 Bravehearts.
Delicari with a line out in the first and then a single to the right side in the second. He's now 2 for 3 on the day, and that'll bring up Mac Chelly, the cleanup hitter. Checks his swing as that ball squirts behind Bauman, able to recover, and Delicari holds at first.
And look how quickly Bauman got up from his crouch position at the catcher spot behind home plate and attacked that ball. And I think maybe after that first wild pitch, he's not going to let another one get by him.
Chelly 0 for 1 on the day with a hit by pitch. As Hag struggling to find the zone here. 2-0 the count.
Shadows now covering almost every spot, both in the outfield and the infield. A little bit of glares in between the catching position and first base as well as third base. But other than that, the shadows are covering Muzzy Field.
Checking on Delicari. Dives back safely. Hag keeping special attention on the Worcester right fielder. Again, Hag missing on that outer half as he's going to take a step behind the plate and compose himself before getting back on the mound. Four-2 your score here. Top of the fourth. Hag deals 3-0. Gets the call, 3-1 the count. 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. 4-2 Worcester leads. 1 run already in on the RBI single from Delicari, and he leads off first. Hag deals, lifted into left field, and that one will get down for a base hit. Delicari rounding second on his way to third, and he's going to be in there as Chelly follows behind. So a 1-out double from the Worcester cleanup man. And just like that, it's second and third with 1 out. And a rally brewing here for Worcester, looking to extend their lead in the top of the fourth.
And it was just a mispitch location by Haig. As you saw right there, Bauman was setting up on the opposite side of the plate. That pitch ended up becoming more towards Chelly's wheelhouse. And we've seen Chelly in both games. He does have power. He showed that right there, and now second and third with only one out, a fly ball with the dangerous House, or even more so, House has an opportunity to drive in two.
Palmer will draw his infield in as Hag again missing outside, becoming a problem here, finding the zone. So the Blues looking to cut down a run at the plate on a ground ball. House 1 for 2 on the day. The 1-0 pitch misses up. Bauman throwing back to third. But Delicari just back in time. As Bauman coming right off the bench, looking to steal an out from Delicari.
And at least Bauman right there making the attempt to throw. Maybe we'll allow Delicari to not take that extra step, which could be a precious situation depending on where this ball is hit with the infield in.
The pitch lined up the middle, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Delicari will score with ease. Chelly moving to third. So House continues his hot hitting as the Blues just do not have an answer for the Worcester second baseman, extending their lead now to 3. 5-2 the score as Ronnie Palmer has seen enough. He's going to come get Hag. And coming in, it looks like it'll be Jason Hebner yet again after making an appearance in Game 1. He'll be called on again to put out another fire. First and third, just one out. The Bravehearts still threatening here in the top of the fourth. 2 runs already in. 5-2 your score. The Blues are trailing. We'll be right back here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. So the lefty Hebner making his second appearance of the day out of the bullpen. Came on in the top of the 7th back in Game 1 and induced a fly ball with 2 outs to get out of the inning. So he only faced one batter. So Ronnie Palmer calling his number yet again. He's going to face the lefty Jack Gonzalez as Hebner pours in an off-speed strike. First and third here, 1 out. 2 runs already in for the Bravehearts. Still threatening here. Runner goes. Bauman fakes the throw to second as House will take second. So second and third now. 1-1 the count to Gonzalez. Hebner, the lefty out of Newtown, Connecticut, just finished up his freshman year at Fairfield U. As he swings over another off speed. Infield drawn in. So they're looking to cut down the run and keep this lead at just 3. And a tough matchup here for Gonzalez is the lanky Hebner. Giving him some troubles here with the off-speed stuff. But Gonzalez rips a fastball into right field. It looks like that'll score 2. House will round third and score without a throw. So a 2-strike base hit off the bat of Jack Gonzalez. And 2 runs come around to score, Chelly and House. And that'll increase Worcester's lead 7-2 here in the 4th. 4 runs in already. Only one out for the Bravehearts.
AJ, it's gone bad, or rather have gone from bad to worse, and it's hard to really put a finger on it. It's been multiple things in this inning alone. I mean, we've seen a little bit of wild pitches, mislocation, walks, and this Braves team, you got to give them credit. They can hit.
That's Sidwell who lines one into the right center gap. Coming over is Brancato to cut it off. So Kirk Sidwell with a base hit into right. Chris, that's the 5th hit of the inning for Worcester. Still just 1 out here in the 4th as they look to add to their 5-run lead. Now Hansen will step to the dish.
10 hits for the Bravehearts. Came in second in FCBO with hits overall, and we're seeing it right here why they are one of the most dangerous teams in FCBO. And I don't care what their record was at the time, when even before this, they are a dangerous team, and they can beat you with multiple facets.
Hebner ahead 0-1. Heron swings that one, bounces it into left field, coming around to score. That's Gonzalez. So an RBI base hit from Hansen makes it 8-2. And Hebner has come on and given up 3 straight hits. The 6th of the inning for Worcester as they continue to pile on here. 8-2 the score. Worcester in control here in the 4th. And that'll bring him 9-hole hitter John Thrasher, the center fielder.
I got a question I want to ask you, AJ, after this pitch.
Off speed misses upstairs.
Do you think the fact that he threw in game 1, I get it wasn't a lot of pitches, but just the fact of getting up in the heat, throwing the warm-ups, going in a game, and then having to do that again, the recuperation from that, maybe it was a little too short?
The 1-0 blooped into right field, and that one's going to drop in there. So everything going Worcester's way right now as Thrasher able to place that one right in front of Brancato out in right field. So another base hit for Worcester, and they are loaded here for the top of the lineup, Mariano Ricciardi. 8 straight hits for the Bravehearts, and that is an absolute recipe for disaster as the Bravehearts have now batted around in the inning. Ricciardi takes the ball high.
And this is exactly who you want if you're a Worcester Bravehearts fan, to have Ricciardi up at the plate, bases loaded, only 1 down.
Ricciardi takes the ball low. Ricciardi 1 for 2 on the day. Swings at this one, grounds it to second. Haig fields to Brereton to first. Not in time. Ricciardi able to leg that one out. So the run will come around to score. That's Sidwell scoring from third. The lead is now 7 for the Bravehearts. And we saw that in game 1 a lot with Osberg over at second. Bristol just unable to make that double play on the ground balls to second base, and it's come back to bite them a number of times, especially here, as that one would have gotten them out of the inning. Now Rinaldi sends one into right field. Brancato giving chase, and he will make the play on the run. Nice running catch there from Brancato. He had a long way to go. Makes the catch in foul territory to end the inning, but not before the damage is done. Another crooked number for Worcester, a 6th spot in the 4th. And they are in control, 9-2, leading the Blues as we head to the bottom half of the 4th. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back, folks. Bottom of the 4th here at Muzzy Field. And a crooked number for Worcester in the 4th has put the Blues behind the 8 ball here in Game 2 of this Sunday doubleheader. Chris Saunders and A.J. Fabry on the call. Leading things off for Bristol, it'll be designated hitter Teddy Haig, who is 0 for 1 with a fielder's choice. Ball misses inside. Sanderson still out there in his 4th inning of work. The youngster headed to UConn next year as a freshman. The 1-0 misses low and in, 2-0 quickly to Haig.
And as we saw from the starting pitcher for the Bravehearts in Game 1, when Worcester had the opportunity to score quite a few runs in their top of the half inning, how does a guy like Sanderson come back after sitting that long? He's already had bouts of wildness regularly. What does he do now?
The 3-0 swung on, foul back, so Haig with the green light there on the 3-0 pitch. Bit of an interesting call there, down 7 runs. But we'll do it again, 3-1 the count. Haig watches strike 2 as the count runs full. Haig making just his 7th start, hitting .308 in 13 at-bats. 3-2 pitch, grounded to first. Gonzalez is there. He fields and just beats the hustling Haig for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Giacomo Brancato, the right fielder out of Fairfield University.
1.789 bat, Brancato, Sullivan, and De Los Santos, or actually, pardon me, that'll be Bauman. That will be their second at-bat total before we get back to the top. Worcester has already had 4 at-bats in their first 2.
Brancato lifts one. Looks like it'll stay in the infield, but will it stay in play? And it drops harmlessly. Chelly gave chase. Might have caught a piece of the fence there. And was the 2-2 pitch to Brancato. Misses low. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Technology here doesn't really work well in 100-degree weather. Does it, Chris?
No, it does not. I got to give these players a lot of credit, though, the way they've handled the heat.
3-2 pitch, lifted, foul territory down the right field line. Gonzalez is there, and he will make the play up against the fence. for the second out of the inning. So a nice job there from Gonzalez, able to maintain his concentration. And Brancato is retired for the second out of the inning.
And with now complete shadows over Muzzy Field, it's a little bit easier to pick up the ball in the air rather than on a day like Game 1 when it started at 3:30 and the sun was glaring down on the field.
Jimmy Sullivan now takes ball 1. Checked his swing. 1-0 the count. Sullivan with a base hit back in the second. Went all the way to third as he swings and laces this one up the middle. So Sullivan with his second base hit and as many at-bats for the center fielder headed to Virginia next year.
And Sullivan came into today not recording a hit in 10 at-bats and now has 2 hits. So it's nice to see the young kid kind of maybe coming out of his shell a little bit with the Bristol Blues. And a game that might not turn out to be the Bristol Blues' way does have some shining lights at the end of the day.
I'll bring up Alex Bauman, who takes strike 1. Bauman replacing De Los Santos behind the dish. After De Los Santos went down with an apparent injury, not sure to what extent. Nonetheless, Bauman in there in the 9-hole, swings and fouls that one back quickly in the hole, 0-2.
And something to note, Dylan Reynolds looks like he's a tad bit limping in the dugout. It looks to be his left hamstring because he keeps going back to it. So that's something to watch for, AJ, when they go back to play defense.
Bauman fouls that one down the right field line to stay alive. 0-2 the count with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Your Bristol Blues trailing 9-2 in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Sanderson fires, and that one catches Bauman right on the elbow. You see Bauman gripping there in some visible pain, but he'll shake it off and jog down to first base. So a bit of a rally here with 2 outs after the single from Sullivan and Bauman taking one off the elbow. Just like that, it's first and second with 2 outs for the top of the order and Andy Haig.
Second hit by pitch for Sanderson in as many innings. And Bristol down 9-2, 12 hits for the Bravehearts, 3 for Bristol. And Sanderson can rather have an at-bat like that where if he hits a batter, it's okay because he has the lead and there's 2 down.
Haig, second baseman, 0 for 2 on the day. Sanderson misses high.
Haig came around to score in the first and grounded out in the second, his third at-bat here in Game 2.
The 1-0 fouled back. Sanderson at 71 pitches now in the bottom of the 4th. You have to imagine this would be his last as Haig lifts that one down foul territory. Gonzalez giving chase to no avail. 1-2 the count.
And when Worcester heads up to bat, they will have 3, 4, 5. Delicari, Chelly, and House. And all 3 of those batters scored and at least have 1 run in this game. Worcester won Game 1 5-3 and currently are up 9-2 here in Game 2.
The 1-2 to Haig misses outside. 2-2 the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 4th. Andy Haig looking to chip away at this Worcester lead. But he takes a called strike 3. Fastball painted the outside corner. So Sanderson works into and out of trouble here. Strands 2 Blues base runners as we head to the 5th. 9-2. Worcester leading Bristol here at Muzzy Field alongside Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Stick around. We'll be right back for some 5th inning action. The Bristol Blues looking to creep their way back into this one, but they'll have to go through the heart of the order, as it'll be Michael Delicari, Mac Chully, and Edward House. 3, 4, 5. New pitcher in for Bristol, Ethan Hunt. As Delicari rips this one down the first base line, it will be a fair ball. Delicari on his way to second, and he'll be in there for a first pitch leadoff double for the right fielder. And Delicari just having a day. His third hit, this one a double. Before that was 2 singles, and he lined out. So Delicari seen the ball very well so far, and Ethan Hunt in some hot water already just after 1 pitch. Chully, the catcher, a double in his last at bat, last inning, a part of that 6-run rally as he fouls one back in off the hands. Hunt out of the University of Charleston, making his 3rd appearance on the bump, primarily in mop-up duty. Just 2 innings pitched, 3 walks, 3 hits, 1 strikeout.
And Ethan Hunt getting the opportunity here to be able to try to at least eat up some innings, and it wouldn't shock me if we saw maybe Osberg, possibly Peyton Stevens, just in case if Hunt struggles.
Chully swings over that one. As you can see Chully signaling into the dugout, possibly looking for some, looks like some pine tar to fasten his grip on his bat.
Chully 2 for 3 on the day, flew out in the second, but was able to get on in the first and the fourth. I mean, AJ, if you look at our scorebooks right now, if people back home were to look at it, it's a lot of hits, a couple stolen bases, walks, hit by pitches, everything.
Hunt ahead in the count, 1-2. The pitch, foul back. Good job of Chully, able to tag that off-speed pitch and stay alive. And in that 4th inning, 8 straight hits for the Bravehearts, doing the damage as Chully lifts this one down the first base side. Moroka giving chase, and he will make the play for the first out of the inning. So Hunt wins the battle, getting the cleanup hitter to pop out into foul territory for the first out of the inning.
But now he has to face House, who has been a Blues killer in Game 1 and then now in Game 2. They have not had an answer for him. And even in the outs that they've been able to get, which have come far and few between, he's had the ability to put the bat to the ball, hard contact. And Hunt, who typically does not pitch, it'll be interesting to see how a position pitcher faces off against a hitter like House.
Hunt deals strike 1 inside corner, and Chris, we talked about it. Statistically speaking, Worcester is one of the most impressive teams in the league, and you said their downfall has been their defense. 47 errors leads the FCBL, but as House lifts this one into center field, Sullivan giving chase. He'll make the play as Delicari tagging from second. He'll be in there as the throw is cut off by Brereton, but when Worcester makes errors in the field, they struggle to win. That's why they're under 500 so far. But today, they have been sound defensively. Only a few miscues and nothing catastrophic that has led to any Bristol rallies. So Worcester making a case for why they really are one of the better teams, if not the best, in the league so far. They really haven't put it all together, but you can see the ingredients are there. As Gonzalez, the first baseman, swings over a first pitch off speed.
And I think if you look at this offense from the Bravehearts, I would have to say the next closest comparable that I've seen has been the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. And it would not shock me if this team, the Bravehearts, took a big leap in the second half and a jump to one of the top 3 spots in the FCBL before it's said and done.
0-1 misses outside, 1-1 the count, and you have to think just those two teams offensively are 1 and 1A. There's really not a whole lot separating the two. The 1-1 off speed, ripped down the first base line, but Moroka making the play. He's going to flip to Hunt, and that'll do it here in the 5th. So a leadoff double, not a problem for Hunt, able to work out of some damage there. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left on. 9-2, still your score here at Muzzy Field. The Blues trailing big time, looking to rally here in the bottom of the 5th, here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here at Muzzy Field, Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry. I want to thank you for joining us here on this hot Sunday, first day of July, doubleheader between the Worcester Bravehearts and the Bristol Blues. Dylan Reynolds leading things off for Bristol. New pitcher in for the Bravehearts. It's Eddie Lair, the righty out of Babson College. Off speed in there for a called strike.
Layer typically has worked at least at most an inning and 2/3. But I wondered in a 7-inning game, up 9-2, maybe he'll try to go the length of the game.
0-1 misses high. 5 1/3 innings pitched for Lair. Just a 1.68 ERA as Reynolds takes inside. Lair making his 6th appearance of the season. Just 2 hits given up. Reynolds rips this one into the gap, and that'll get down for a base hit. So Reynolds is aboard, the leadoff man, with a base hit into right field.
Nice to see Reynolds at least semi-okay after that, being able to at least have enough stride to be able to get to first base, not showing any pain.
That'll bring up Rich Brereton, the shortstop, 0 for 2 on the day. A ground out to short and a strikeout looking. Brereton takes ball 1 high. Two 2-0 the count to Brereton, the 3-hole hitter. Brereton started in center in game 1 today, making the move over to shortstop, so displaying his range of defensive versatility tonight. 2-0, misses up and away, 3-0 quickly, and Lair struggling to find the zone. Three-0 pitch catches the inside corner. That's just strike one there. Home plate umpire punching out Brereton on a 3-0 pitch.
It's all right. I think even umpires are, given a.
Listen.
I think you got to give them a mulligan after that one.
Oh, I got to give them a lot of credit. They've been out there all day long as Brereton takes strike two. But got to give them credit. Got to give these players, all these coaches, a lot of credit for hanging in there, for being out there for approaching almost 4.5 hours out here on the ball field. Just a smoldering hot day as Brereton fouls one down the first base side. 3-2 the count.
You can see why Lair's a little bit hard to pick up. He kind of has a long arm stroke in the back, kind of pauses in his delivery as before he sets, but throws from a low three-quarters arm slot. Haven't really seen much of a breaking ball yet.
Full count to Brereton. Shortstop looking for his first hit of the day. Takes outside, ball 4. So the first 2 men aboard here for the Blues, and that'll bring up the home run hitter, the only offense so far for Bristol, Justin Henry Malloy, who took Sanderson deep in the first inning. A booming shot over the left field fence, his first of the year. That gave Bristol a 2-1 lead, but since then it's been all Worcester.
If you're Chelly right here, I was just about to say, call breaking ball first pitch, just to, even if it's called a ball, get Lair back in that arm slot, where then now maybe if you want to be able to dot a fastball in the outer black of the plate, you should be able to right here.
The 1-0 to Malloy in the dirt, lays off, 2-0 the count.
And Bristol's going to need at least a couple more batters on base in terms of runs as well if they want to be able to fight back. Currently down by 7. But at least right now, 2-0 count, runners on first and second. You have the right guys up with Malloy, Maroka, and Haig.
Chasing 7 runs. The 2-0 called strike outside corner. So 7 runs to chase with just 9 outs to play with. Here in the 5th. Again, just a 7-inning game here. The second half of a doubleheader. Malloy rips one, but way out ahead of that one, as that one lands way foul territory, 2-2 the count.
And with Lair throwing a couple of those breaking balls first couple pitches, it allowed him to, at least if he was going to miss a fastball, that was the one to be able to miss, and Malloy was way out in front because he looked to have been on that swing, anticipating a breaking ball right here. If I'm Lair, I would definitely throw a high fastball up and away.
The 2-2. Fastball outside just off the plate. You could see Lair wanted that call. Good plate discipline from Malloy. Count runs full here on the Bristol third baseman. 3-2, popped him up. Coming in is Sidwell, but it'll be Rinaldi making the play in shallow left field for the first out of the inning. So Lair able to win the battle for the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up first baseman Cooper Maroka.
And Lair was able to make his pitch when he needed to against Malloy. Got him to pop up to the shortstop, and now first and second with only 1 out. You can kind of feel, AJ, a little bit how the outs are starting to really pile on. And a 7-inning game, it comes on you quickly.
Reynolds will be running. Brereton on his way as well, but he will be in there, so the double steal effective as both Reynolds and Brereton able to advance. Second and third now. And a bit of a heads-up play there. You have to think that Lair on the mound with a 7-run cushion, just focusing on the batter. So Reynolds able to take advantage. Both he and Brereton advance a base, and now Maroka can drive him in on a fly ball.
And why not, attempt to steal right here, let alone double steal? You're down 9-2, and you have nothing to lose in that sense. At the very worst, these are the type of games where if it looks to be one-sided, work on a couple of things because you can carry that over to the next game, which the Blues have tomorrow. They're the only game on Monday against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks.
Chelly will go out and talk to Lair. Moroka 0 for 1. Was hit by a pitch in the first and struck out looking in the third. Still looking for his first hit of the day. Getting the start at first. The 1-1 to Moroka. Swung on and missed. Looked like a changeup that Moroka swung over the top of. So 1-2 the count now. Lair in control. Brereton off second. Reynolds off third. The Blues trailing by 7 as Moroka able to get a piece and stay alive.
And this is the kind of at-bat where Moroka typically, with a pitcher with a good breaking ball, will have a struggle, at least for the most part. But a fastball like Lair, which is right in his wheelhouse, let's see what he can do. 1-2 count, runners on second and third. A ball in the air should score Reynolds.
The 1-2 pitch in the dirt. Moroka lays off. So that'll even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away here in the bottom half of the 5th. Moroka out of Cheshire, Connecticut. UMass Amherst. The 2-2 pitch misses outside. You can see Chelly, a little bit of a hesitation throwing that ball back. Wanted that pitch very similar to the 2-strike pitch to Malloy that was just off the edge of the plate. Called a ball by the home plate umpire. The payoff pitch popped him up. Right side. Gonzalez is there, and he will make the play in fair territory to retire Moroka. So situational hitting not there for Bristol. So with 2 away here, that'll bring up Teddy Haig, the designated hitter for Bristol.
And you saw right there in the Moroka. You saw that right there in the Moroka play. I could see why he wanted to get the ball in the air, but a breaking ball that was on the outer half of the plate, unless you're sitting on that pitch, it's very difficult to be able to pull that to the opposite field, or rather to the pull side. Now, still second and third, 2 down.
Haig 0 for 2 on the day. Out of Yale University, the designated hitter swings and misses at a ball in the dirt, even the count 1-1. Chris, I got to ask you on a 100-degree day like today, what's your main method of staying cool? Are you a pool guy, a beach guy, chilling the AC guy? What do you go for?
Well, I got to tell you, if I'm a ball player, definitely you want to stay away from the sun as much as possible because the longer you're in the sun, especially when you look at the amount of time that you would play during a game and you're going to be in those rays, you want to try to stay cool as possible, drink a lot of water. But for myself, I'm a beach guy.
Love to see it.
How about you?
Yeah, I can't, got to get by a body of water. Can't go wrong. Cool down.
No, definitely not.
Maybe floating around on one of those donut floats.
Oh, those things are sick, especially if you toboggans. Those things are cool.
Wow, whoa, that's above my pay grade, Chris. I don't know. You're getting way. I'm just I'll go for a little dip and I'm in and out. The 1-2 to Haig, ripped into right field, and then he'll be down for a base hit. Reynolds will score. Brereton on his way home, and he will score. So a 2-out base hit from Haig, plates 2, and that'll cut into the Worcester lead. 9-4, the Bravehearts lead now after the 2 RBI base hit from the designated hitter, Teddy Haig.
It's nice to see Haig be able to put up a good at-bat right there. This is a kid who's been fighting through injuries, has had problems with his shoulder, but getting his opportunity, although he's been far and few between, but got a shot right there, came through 9-4.
Right fielder Brancato takes a strike one from Lair. Brancato swings at the second pitch, lifts it into center. Thrasher is there. He will make the play for the final out of the inning. So after 2 hits, 2 runs on the base hit from Teddy Haig, and the lead is just 5 now. Worcester ahead 9-4 as we head to the 6th here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call. We'll be right back for game 2 of this doubleheader. Alrighty, thanks for sticking with us here, folks. So a bit of a delay here. The home plate umpire called both coaches over, said that he was suffering from some serious effects from the heat, said he was dizzy and could not continue umpiring, as this one is smacked into deep center field, but Sullivan is going to track it down. That was Hansen. Excuse me, that was Sidwell with the flyout. But getting back to the umpiring situation, home plate umpire could not continue on, so after a meeting between both coaches and both umpires, it was determined that the game would continue instead of calling it. So the field umpire went into the clubhouse, changed, put on his gear, and now he is behind the dish. And as you can see right now, he is the only umpire in this game, so he will continue on, finish the last couple innings here. And a couple changes in the field now. Ian Osberg in relief of Hunt. So the middle infielder coming in with a 5-run lead, looking to hold things if Bristol wants to make any comeback attempts. So the heat certainly taking a toll here on both players and the umpires, as Osberg deals a strike to Hansen. Hansen 1 for 1 on the day, a base hit and 2 walks. The 1-2 pitch bounced in front, 2-2 the count.
And it's going to be a little bit trickier now with the home plate umpire. Only one. Closer plays, you're really going to have to, I don't want to say guess, but it's definitely going to be an interesting task going forward. At least, not to say I ever wish anything to happen to a home plate umpire, but if you want to say it happened at the last, 2.5 innings of the game, so you can say that it could hopefully bode well for the Bravehearts.
Full count here to Hansen. Catches the outside corner, called strike 3. So Osberg retiring the first 2 batters he's faced. 2 outs quickly here with the 9-hole guy Thrasher coming at the plate.
How about the position players? Ethan Hunt and now Ian Osberg making themselves, you can make a case, AJ, that they're getting ahead of some of the guys in the bullpen who are partly pitchers.
Osberg deals a ball, and Hunt with a shutout inning. And his 1 inning of work, and Osberg working on a 1-2-3 here if he could cut down Thrasher. This one is looped into shallow center. Coming on is Sullivan, and he can't make the play. Had a long run, but could not get there, so Thrasher dunks one in. He's aboard. That's his 2nd hit of the game.
Thrasher fighting off a pitch inside and kind of fisted that one. And Sullivan made an attempt, but even that 6'4" frame with the long strides was not able to make the catch.
Osberg making his 3rd appearance of the season on the mound as he deals a ball to leadoff man Mariano Ricciardi. And I talked to him after his first appearance back in June 11th, asked him when the last time he pitched was, and he said, I believe it said JV baseball, so. But Ricciardi ripping one in deep right field. Brancato giving chase. It's going to be off the base of the wall. Rounding third is Thrasher. He's going to score. Into second is Ricciardi with a 2-out double. So after getting the first 2 men out, a blue base hit, and a 2-out double. And just like that, it's 10-4 Worcester. So the Blues trying to make a comeback here, but giving Worcester some runs back right away.
It's been all Worcester in this game from start to finish, both Game 1 and then Game 2. And the only really bright spots in both was when the Blues were able to get a 2-1 lead for the first time in both games together when Justin Henry Malloy, the third baseman, hit a bomb to left. But then they gave up 2 runs after that, and the rest has been history. 1, 2, they scored 6. Another one here with a chance for more. And AJ, it's been tough the last couple of days to be a Blues fan, you have to admit.
Not the prettiest of performances today in this doubleheader. The 1-1 to Rinaldi. Lifted into right. Brancato is there, and he will make the play. And that'll do it here, but a couple of two-out hits lead to a run. 10-4 the lead as we roll on into the bottom half of the sixth. The Blues trailing by 6, looking to make a comeback here. AJ Fabry, Chris Saunders here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back for some bottom of the sixth action. Bottom of the sixth, the Blues running out of time here, trailing 10-4 to the Worcester Bravehearts. Bristol in danger of dropping game 2 of this doubleheader. Jimmy Sullivan leading things off for the Blues. Eddie Lair deals a ball low. Lair in his second inning of work gave up 2 in the 5th. Sullivan takes ball 2.
We've seen the adjustment from Sullivan from the first time he had an at-bat with the Bristol Blues until now. 2-0 pitch.
Swung on and missed.
But you noticed, and I even told this to you as well, AJ, how he had a high leg kick in the beginning, and now it's a little bit more abbreviated, and maybe he's starting to pick up the timing.
2-1. Lifted down the third base line. Giving chases Hansen, and he's going to run out of room. Just got over the fence. So a new life for Sullivan as the count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and it looked like...
Did his belt break?
I believe so, as Sullivan looking a bit out of sorts on his way back to home plate there.
Someone get the kid a belt, please.
It's his jersey on top. Listen, it's been a long day. Doubleheader taking its toll on players, umpires, and now some of the equipment here. So the 2-2 pitch, swung on, grounded to short, fielded and fires, not in time. Sullivan beats the throw from Rinaldi. So I guess he didn't need that belt, Chris. Able to leg out that infield single. And for Sullivan, his 3rd hit of the day, 3 for 3 for the center fielder.
And that's the tricky part, not having the field umpire. The home plate umpire kind of has to get into somewhat proper position to be able to make that call. And what looked to be a bang-bang play went Sullivan's way.
We'll bring up Alex Bauman, who takes the ball 1.
I mean, 10-4 does look insurmountable, but at the same time, the Blues have shown they can put up some crooked numbers.
Called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And AJ, look who's warming up in the bullpen right now for the Blues. Justin Rouse.
Justin Rouse, recently relegated to the bullpen after a disappointing second start. So we'll see if he gets some innings in mop-up duty. But back to Bauman, 1-2 the count to the catcher. Pitch, dribbler, back to Lair. He fields. He's going to have to take the out at first, and he just nips Bauman for the first out of the inning. You saw he wanted to go to second, set up that double play, but lost his footing a bit. Able to compose himself and get the out at first.
How about the body awareness by Lair to kind of conjoint himself, not to throw to second, pause, and then wait and understand that he had a guy in Bauman who not very fleet of foot and made an accurate throw to first base. That's an athletic play from a pitcher.
Andy Haig takes strike one, and Lair going to be a senior at Babson. So certainly a heady play by the veteran, able to compose himself and make the throw. The 0-1 pitch misses low and away, and you could see that chopper kind of on the lip right where the grass meets the dirt on the mound. So I think that's where Lair lost his footing there. Nonetheless, one away. The 1-1 pitch to Haig, swung on and missed. Blew that one right by the second baseman.
And who said pitchers aren't athletes?
Not me, Chris. 1-2 the count. Haig fouls that one back.
For Haig to be able to foul off a pitch like that, which was above his head, I think kind of shows the kind of plate coverage that he has. For a little guy to be able to get the barrel there and just fight it off shows why UConn was able to get him to come to their school.
1-2, misses low in the dirt. Haig able to lay off the off-speed stuff.
And more so being able to pull his hands in and getting enough barrel, like I mentioned, to foul it back. It's quite an intriguing player, Haig is.
2-2, popped into foul territory. That'll get out of play. And looking ahead here at the Bristol Blues schedule, tomorrow, as Chris alluded to earlier, they'll be on the road taking on the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. And then after that, they'll be home on Tuesday the 3rd. And on the 4th, if you so please care to join us here as they take on the North Shore Navigators at 7 p.m. the 4th of July with some fireworks after that one. So come on down and spend your Independence Day here at Muzzy Field as Haig takes ball 4 as that one gets back to the backstop. Sullivan able to move up to third. And after that one, they'll head out to Worcester, taking on the Bravehearts at 7 p.m. And then they're back for a weekend homestand. Friday at 6:30, they'll be taking on the Bravehearts yet again. Saturday at 7 against the Silver Knights. And rounding out the weekend, they'll head up to Nashua to take on the Silver Knights at 5. Reynolds rips this one into right field. That'll score Sullivan. So the Blues scraping on by here. 10-5 the score on the RBI single from Reynolds.
And you talked about, AJ, how Reynolds had 4 walks in his previous game, and you definitely think it's something that the amount of plate discipline that he has, but teams are now starting to figure out that this kid can hit. And AJ, I saw you kind of pumping your hands in the air. May I ask why?
Yankees up 4-0 early on in this one.
Oh, who's pitching for the Red Sox? I forgot.
You tell me.
It's David Price. Well, David Price is the Red Sox Sonny Gray, so. How long before he comes out of the game because he has feeling in his finger again?
Too much Fortnite.
I'm telling you, way too much. And Sanchez isn't even in the lineup, and they're still hitting him. But Blues down 10-5. This is definitely this is a lead that you could say they can come back from.
Still only one out here.
Exactly.
In the 6th with the always dangerous Rich Brereton up and 2 men on. So a little bit of a rally here could make things interesting as Brereton lifts one foul.
I mean, think about it. Brereton can get on somehow, bases loaded or not. I like my chances with Malloy, Maroka, and even Teddy Haig, who showed a couple nice at-bats and drove in 2 runs back in the 5th. So this game is far from over. If you're a Worcester Bravehearts fan, you have to be on the edge of your seat because a couple more hits, the Blues could be coming back.
The 0-1 fouled back, 0-2. Brereton 0 for 2 on the night. Walked and scored back in the 6th. Excuse me, back in the 5th. Brereton looking for a new bat. Might have chipped a piece off on that foul ball. 1-2 the count to the Bristol shortstop.
And just put a ribbon on the Red Sox-Yankees talk that we had. With David Price struggling in this series, I think in this game, this goes to show that he's not a big game pitcher. The Red Sox are going to have to go out and get a guy because in the postseason you can't depend on him. It's going to be Sale, Porcello, and then maybe Erod, and Price has to opt out of that contract. He can't after this year, and it's definitely going to be something to watch for. Both teams, Yankees and Red Sox, are going to be going into the trade deadline looking for that rotation guy. We'll find out who.
Going to be an arms race.
Agreed.
Towards the end of July. As we just saw LeBron James signing with the Lakers via Twitter. I mean, people are going to be all over the trade deadline transactions as well. So this time of year,
it's fun.
It is fun.
Are you shocked he went to the Lakers?
I think it was in the bag the whole time. I know there were a couple dark horse teams possibly, Philly.
Yep.
Some people talking about Boston, but I think he knew all along that he was signing with L.A.
I heard there was rumors that he was looking for schools for his kid, and that was like the telling sign that he was going to the Lakers. Supposedly. That's what Colin Cowherd said.
4-year deal, $154 million. But back to baseball here. 2-2. Brereton lifts one into center. Thrasher is there. Haig will tag, and he's going to go to third. The throw is cut off. So Haig moves to third on the fly ball from Brereton. And with 2 away, that'll bring Justin Henry Malloy. And one swing of the bat can make this game a whole lot interesting, Chris.
It can. I mean, I understand 10-5. They're still down by 2 even with the home run. But 10-5 or 10-8 rather is a lot better than it would be going in 10-5 in the bottom of the 7th. And I feel like the manager had the same sort of thinking as you and I did. I'm going to bring in my closer potentially to be able to come in and finish this game off because even he knows, the manager for the Worcester Bravehearts, that this game could easily be in grasp for the Blues.
So that will do it for Eddie Lair as Worcester will go to the bullpen to face Justin Henry Malloy. 10-5 your score. First and third, the Blues threatening with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. 1 run already in. We'll be right back here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Peter Bavenzi, the new wing in for Worcester. The 6'4", 220-pounder out of Leominster, Massachusetts. I'm being told it's Leominster by the Massachusetts faithful here in the booth. Justin Henry Malloy takes ball one. So Bavenzi recently added to the roster, making his first appearance of the season, and a bit of a spot here. Bristol's biggest power threat at the plate, 10-5 score with runners on the corners. Bavenzi deals a ball upstairs, 2-0 the count.
And Malloy right here, I would be thinking dead red fastball. He's talked about with us before when we talked to him a couple weeks ago how he looks for a fastball, and when he gets it, he wants to mash.
Dangerous pitch here from Bavenzi. The 2-0, off speed, upstairs. Bavenzi quickly in the hole here, 3-0.
And if you're Bavenzi, you almost want to maybe intentionally walk Malloy here and rather take your chances with Maroka.
Maroka on deck. And Teddy Haig, who has an RBI single in the hole. The 3-0 pitch, not even close, misses upstairs. So a 4-pitch walk, and that'll bring up Maroka with the bases loaded. So the Blues still threatening, but a lot of work to be done here. The first baseman, Cooper Maroka, coming up in a big spot here, bases loaded, 2 outs. The Blues trailing by 5 here in the bottom of the 6th.
And that looked to me have been almost a way where Bavenzi didn't want anything to do with Malloy, and he'd much rather face Maroka, who, although he did hit a home run, has come about this season with a little bit of struggles and has a tendency to have a lot of swing and miss to his game, as does Malloy. But I think right now you saw, what have you done for me lately? Well, Malloy hit a bomb to left, so that's the last thing they remember, and you've seen the at-bats since, really pitching away from Malloy and kind of going away from their game plan. We'll see what they do with Maroka here.
Maroka 0 for 2 on the day. Takes a called strike, inner half, 0-1 the count.
See, that's a pitch that if Malloy was in the batter's box, I don't think that they would have gotten the ball back. I think Malloy crushes that. Maybe I'm wrong, but we've seen Malloy in batting practice take those pitches to left and drive them.
0-1 the count. The pitch. Swung on and miss, off speed, and you're right, Chris. Maroka, still a dangerous bat and a strong frame, and last night with his first home run of the year, but still not the same threat as Malloy. So you'd have to think Worcester had the game plan, hey, don't give Malloy anything good to hit, and we'll get the next guy. The 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed, so Bavenzi, after walking Malloy on 4 pitches, gets the job done, striking out Maroka as the Blues leave the bases loaded as they trail 10-5 here. We head to the last. We thank you for sticking with us here. The last inning of this doubleheader on the first day of July. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry. The Blues trailing by 5. We'll head to the last on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
3-4-5 for the Worcester Bravehearts. Delicari, Chelly, House, fan them get on. Jack Gonzalez. 10-5 is your score. The Bristol Blues had an opportunity with the bases loaded, but Cooper Maroka struck out by the new pitcher for the Worcester Bravehearts on a changeup outside. And it's 10-5 as the new wing for the Bristol Blues is Justin Rouse. Rouse, originally a starter, has been demoted to the bullpen because of inconsistencies. And I was talking with AJ during the break about I'll be intrigued to see how he reacts. During starts, I would typically see him kind of pace himself during the start rather than kind of gassing out and just letting his stuff play. So out of the bullpen, we've seen starting pitchers be relievers a la Wade Davis, even Mariano Rivera, and they turned out to have great careers. Not saying that Rouse will get to that point, but you just never know. Guys react differently.
And sometimes, Chris, that's what summer ball's about, kind of finding where you're comfortable. As Delicari rips that one foul, but sometimes it's about where you're comfortable. And you said it. In these starts, Rouse will come out there pumping cheddar, but sometimes he struggles to carry that through 3-4 innings. And if he can carve himself a nice little role here, maybe as the 7th, 8th setup man to McDermott, who's the bona fide closer, you never know. You could get some value out of Rouse here, and that'll translate throughout the rest of the summer and maybe into his college career at URI.
Change up low, but Delicari got a piece. Still remains 0-2. Delicari's had a nice day at the plate. Couple RBIs. And this offense for the Worcester Bravehearts has put up 15 hits and 10 runs. To the right side, Maroka gobbles it up and tags first. One down. Nice start for Justin Rouse.
You see some downhill pitching there from Rouse. Not being too cute. And especially after around 5 hours on the diamond today, taking advantage of possibly some fatigue from the hitters and just getting after these hitters, dousing them with some fastballs. And 3-4-5 here. It's pretty much power against power. Rouse against Delicari, Chelly, and House. Excited to see how this 7th inning turns out here.
First pitch high and in, 1-0, and you're right. Power against power. Typically, when you're facing a power pitcher, he's supplying the juice. You just have to put the bat on the ball. We'll see what happens here against Chelly. Fastball low, 2-0. If you're wondering why we only have one umpire, it's because the home plate umpire that started off the second game was dizzy and had tendencies to kind of lose his vision at times. So he's now out of this game. He's safe. Ball foul back behind us, 2-1. And the field umpire is now the home plate umpire. But if you've been tuning in for both Game 1 and Game 2, both myself, AJ, and everyone else of the Bristol Blues, thanks you for sticking around during this hot Sunday afternoon, which started out at 100 degrees. Cut at and missed, 2-2. But we couldn't do it without all the viewers and the people who support the Bristol Blues, and we thank you again.
Shout out to Huck Gallagher and Jack O'Donnell.
Thank you.
Director, producer, camera guy, especially Jack, who's been toughing it out.
Strike 3. And Chelly goes down swinging. 2 up and 2 down for Justin Rouse. And that fastball, I'm not going to lie to you, AJ, that's the fastest I've seen Rouse throw, I think, this season, or more so compared to his first start when he was gassing it up.
And if you take a look at Rouse and you're seeing him for the first time, watching on YouTube right now, and you wonder, wow, why isn't this guy getting more innings? Well, he struggled with longevity and maintaining that velocity and that off speed over innings, and he's 1-1 in 3 games with a 10.8 ERA. So he has struggled, but it looks like he might get out of this inning unscathed.
Cooper in foul territory. He's able to make the catch at the line. Side retired, 1-2-3, a ground out, a strikeout, and a fly out in foul territory. And Rouse, that's definitely going to get his confidence up and help Ronnie Palmer maybe go to him more. So don't be surprised if you see Rouse come out of the bullpen if he can continue to have outings like that. We're heading to the bottom of the 7th. Last licks for the Bristol Blues, down 10-5. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the 7th, Bristol Blues will have 6, 7, 8. Haig, Brancato, and Sullivan. If any of them get on bombing. Justin Rouse came in relief for the Blues and had a 1-2-3 inning. Definitely something of a confidence boost for the young righty that hopefully can bode well for him during the duration of the season. Don't you agree, AJ?
Definitely. I mean, that was an impressive inning from Rouse. And, Chris, you and I have been impressed by his stuff all year. It's just sometimes he has trouble maintaining it and controlling it. But if he can just come in, as you see Haig there with his second hit of the game. But Rouse is just the kind of guy that when he sees more strikes being called, you have to think that he just gets more and more confident as he continues to progress. And if you bring him in some isolated situations in a 6th, 7th, or 8th inning, just to go right after some hitters, and you got to think that those hitters were on their heels, especially after facing guys like Hunt and Osberg, who are primarily position players. You got to think that seeing Rouse, who's a legit D1 arm, coming in there kind of knocked them on their backs a little bit.
Now we'll bring up Brancato. First pitch high, 1-0.
Peter Bavenzi working on his second inning of work here, looking to close things out for the Bravehearts in his debut for Worcester, working against Brancato.
1-0 from Bavenzi. High, 1-1. Haig on at first after a leadoff single to begin the bottom of the 7th. And they need a couple of those if you're a Bristol Blues fan right here. Down 10-5. 10 runs, 15 hits, 1 error. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. One, high, 2-1. And AJ, I saw you got a report from the Yankee Red Sox game. Why don't you share?
Keep it simple, 6-0. Keep on keeping on.
Oh, David Price probably shouldn't have played Fortnite. 2-1 to Brancato. Cut at and missed. 2-2. Bavenzi kind of throwing that high cheese, but Brancato chasing. Sullivan on deck with Bauman in the hole.
Brancato just 175 through 40 at-bats, so really hasn't hit his stride so far yet this summer.
2-2. Outside, uncompetitive pitch, full count. I don't think Haig would be going on this pitch only because you're down 10-5. You need as many base runners as possible, and you don't want to run into a hit and run type where he's going, Brancato hits it, it's a liner, and then you get doubled up.
If you want to build a comeback, build some momentum, you just got to go station by station at this point.
Payoff pitch, Brancato doesn't check his swing. He's down for the first out via the K.
You can see there, Brancato, when you're swinging at a pitch that's that far out of the zone, and for a guy who's struggling in the box so far, that's just a telltale sign that he's just not seeing the ball well. He's pretty much guessing where the ball's going as it comes out of the pitcher's hand, and a ball that's at your eyes even higher, and your check's swinging at that one. You're really struggling, and again, for him, he's in a tough spot because you got guys who are, the bona fide starters. You got Stevens primarily in right. You got a guy like Connor Nolan who's gotten the lion's share of starts in center, and then rotating chair, but primarily Dylan Reynolds in left as Sullivan swings through a high fastball. And even, Jimmy Sullivan tonight after a 3-hit performance, he's kind of creeping in the background too. So for Brancato, it's a little bit of an unsettling situation, but when you get your opportunities, you definitely have to take advantage of them. And so far, he just hasn't really been able to click.
Bavenzi, 1-2 high. Hay got on with a leadoff single to begin the bottom of the 7th. And then Brancato struck out on a check swing. Now Sullivan falls behind 1-2. If you're just tuning in, you missed a whole lot of action between both the Bristol Blues and the Worcester Bravehearts. Worcester with 10 runs, Blues with 5. 1-2. He didn't check his swing. Took a page out of Brancato's book right there and struck out another via the K. Bavenzi with his second strikeout.
Back-to-back strikeouts on high fastballs, and as a hitter, sometimes you see that pitch coming about. It looks belt high when it's out, when it's coming through your bat path, but in reality, it's way above your pay grade, and you try to adjust at the last second, and that's why you see a couple check swings, but just not going to do it as Bavenzi bringing the heat right now, closing out this game.
And they talk about how a fastball has that late action, that rising motion. And I've heard different perspectives from it, how a baseball can't rise, and it's gravity and all that. But I'm telling you right now, as the 0-1 comes from Bauman in the dirt 1-1, when you step in that batter's box and you see the fastball coming up at your chest and it naturally goes up, that's because of the late spin that's going. As typically they talk about spin rate. If you have a high spin rate, that creates the life with your fastball. 1-1 to Bauman. Swung at and missed. 1-2, and the Blues are down to their last strike. Bauman trying to find any way to get on. If the Blues fail to tie this game or at least come ahead and win, they'll be down to 15-13 on the season. Haig going. Pitch is low. Haig will get there via defensive indifference. I've always wanted to say that.
I'm glad you did. Your dreams have come true.
They really have. Well, first it was working with you.
Oh, too kind, Chris. Too kind. Chris Saunders, a class act all the way through.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bavenzi to Bauman. Hits him in the hand. Second time that Bauman's been hit on the hand. But, first off, I hope he's okay because his hands are important because of him being a catcher. But he's on first, and the Blues at least will have 2 runners on with Haig at the plate.
You see the Worcester manager coming out to talk with the home plate umpire, but I don't know if he has a case or not, but not the most emphatic reaction from Bauman. Normally you get a little bit more emotion out of a guy who just got hit maybe on the wrist or in the hand, but could have possibly hit the knob. I'm not suggesting that Bauman's a liar or a fake or anything like that, but guys on base, that's what the Blues need if they want to complete any type of comeback.
First pitch to Haig outside, 1-0, and it's nice to see the brothers from Amity, both Teddy and Andrew, in the lineup and have been quite productive in this game.
Teddy with a couple base hits.
And an RBI.
Right.
2 RBIs.
Couple RBI singles. Andy reached base. Scored in the first. Which is not enough tonight for Bristol, as you could really pinpoint both of the losses in both of these games just to, I believe it was the 5th inning in the first game as well as in game 1, as Haig fouls one down the line. Game 1, the Bravehearts, they notched across 4 runs in that one, and that gave them a 5-0 lead, put it out of reach, and then a 6-run 4th inning today in game 2 put things out of reach for the Blues. So something to look forward here for Bristol, just avoiding those big blow-up innings. 'Cause other than that, it's been very manageable.
1-2. Slicing foul to the right side. We'll do it again. Haig on second, Bauman on first. Haig started off the bottom of the 7th with a single to right, and Bauman was hit by a pitch with 2 outs. Haig down in the count 1-2 with 2 outs. The Blues once again down to their last strike. In a game that started out in 100 degrees, the temperature has dropped, and the Blues are trying to be able to light that fire back and at least tie this game. Pitch inside. Shelley thought that was a strike 3 call, but instead it was ball 2.
Off speed, off the inside corner, and Shelley a little bit too jumpy there, but 2-2 with 2 outs. Haig still fighting to stay alive and keep the Blues' chances alive.
Reynolds on deck. The 2-2. Outer half has been a tad away. Full count. Anticipate the runners to be going on the pitch with 2 outs. And the Blues bullpen are all standing, trying to do anything they can to try to get their Blues teammates at least a chance to tie this game up, down by 5. Full count pitch, runners going. Pitch outside, and the Blues will have the bases loaded. And you saw right there, Haig was running on the pitch. Bauman was going back to first. That's a little bit questionable because there's 2 outs. Why are you going back to first? Your first move should be going to second.
It's been a long day, Chris. Very hot out. I think Bauman might have just been a mental error there, not going 3-2 full count, 2 outs. But Reynolds here, again, one swing in the bat can change this ball game. Reynolds not the power guy you think to make that happen, but you never know.
Reynolds, who's had a nice day at the plate.
2 for 4 Reynolds. A base hit, came around to score in the 5th. 2 for 3. Base hit, came around to score, singled in the 6th. Was also hit by a pitch. So a productive day from the 2-hole man out of Fairfield U.
1-0 from Bavenzi. High 2-0, nowhere to put Reynolds. And you said it, the last game that he played, 4 walks. He's not going to swing at pitches outside of his zone. If it's there, he'll swing at it. If it's not, he'll take it. He doesn't care. To Reynolds, outside 3-0. And was started out with a single just to be in the bottom of the 7th. Now has run it to the bases loaded. Oh, I guess he must have called a strike. On the board it says 2-1. High 3-1. And now, for the first time since the Malloy home run, we're starting to hear the Bristol crowd applaud and make some noise.
Got to give some credit to this crowd sticking it out for 14 innings here and the hottest day of the year so far.
For the third consecutive time. 3-1 count. To Reynolds inside, ball 4. Bavenzi walks in a run, 10-6. And now a grand slam would put the Blues up by 1. Not saying that it will happen, or it can happen, or possibly whatever you want to call it. But Brereton up, he's not an easy out. And the long stroll from the manager for the Worcester Bravehearts as he goes to talk with his righty.
10-6. This game is starting to stretch along, and for a game that's pretty much lacked some intensity for the most part, when you get to these moments, it's hard to kind of flip the switch, right, Chris? I mean, for the middle innings, I mean, since Worcester has put up that 6th spot in the 4th, it's been essentially a snoozer here where you just kind of go out and get the outs, but now all of a sudden a swing of the bat, we've said it a couple times, can change the entire complexion of this game. So for everybody, whether you're on the mound, behind the dish, or out playing the field, it's hard to just wake yourself up and go, okay, now it's time to play when you've essentially haven't been there mentally for the last couple innings.
If the Blues can find a way to get Malloy at the plate, they win this game. I'm calling it right now.
It's a bold prediction, Chris.
I'm telling you. I have a feeling they can get to Malloy, they win this game. First pitch to Brereton. Outer half, 0-1. And the talk with his manager must have been the proper one right there, as that had a little bit extra velo from Bavenzi.
Brereton 0 for 3 on the day. A walk and a run scored back in the 5th.
0-1 to Brereton. High and in, 1-1. And I think this Bristol crowd is on the edge of the seat kind of wondering, what if?
Some scrambling down in the Worcester bullpen, trying to get some arms loose in a hurry.
1-1 to Brereton. Outer half, 1-2, and that's the pitch. I mean, we've talked about it before. When Brereton struggles, he lets pitches like that go away, and that's exactly what happened. Bases full Blues. Down 10-6. Need 4 to tie. Strike 3. Brereton goes down swinging. Ball game over. And the Blues leave. The bases loaded and a little scare from the Bravehearts to no awry. And the Bravehearts sweep the day or midday and night doubleheader 5-3 and then 10-6. In a tough break, the Worcester Bravehearts now are an even 500 and the Bristol Blues drop to 15-13 on the season. Tough losses right there as now they fall even more behind first place and even have a chance to drop down to third or worse.
Came into today just 3 games behind the first place Martha's Vineyard Sharks, but after a couple of losses, looks like they'll be dropping a little bit in the standings. And a long week ahead of games for Bristol, starting out with this doubleheader. So tomorrow looking to right the ship on the road against those Martha's Vineyard Sharks. So no rest for the weary here in Bristol, but a couple of big innings led to their downfall. And again, it's limiting the damage when rallies start, just sticking to maybe 1-2 runs per inning as opposed to 5-6 that we saw tonight that really damned them. But thank you all for tuning in today. A long hot day here. Special thanks to Huck Gallagher and Jack O'Donnell, our production crew, for helping us out here. Appreciate you guys joining us, folks.
So for Chris Saunders, for AJ Fabry, for Hack, or for Jack. All right, it's been a long day. For Jack and for Huck and for everyone who stayed tuned, we thank you again for watching Game 1 and Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Worcester Bravehearts and the Bristol Blues. We'll catch you again on Tuesday when the Pittsfield Suns return to Muzzy Field. First pitch at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:55. So long from Muzzy Field. Have a good one, everyone, and have a safe night.